Well, the season comes to an end as Arkansas falls once again for the second year in a row in the Elite Eight. They lose to Duke by a score of 78-69. This is Arkansas basketball recap. Daniel Price, that's Jacob Price. And man, I'm actually like a little more disappointed than I thought I'd be because of the whole like playing with house money thing. I'm not disappointed in the season by any stretch, but you just felt like, man, if you could make it to the Final Four, like that would be such a huge, huge thing. And look, you made it to the Elite Eight 2 years in a row. That's extremely hard to do. And midway through the season, I would have thought there was no chance we were going back to the Elite Eight or anything like that. And at the end of the day, we kind of heard Musk, on the TV there, and he just said they got beat by a better team, and at least a team that I don't know that Duke was a better team all year than Arkansas was, but they're the better team right now.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's hard to say exactly, but it felt like because, Gonzaga supposedly was better than Duke, but not for Arkansas. I mean, the problem it seemed like was with Gonzaga, they had big guys that were tough for us to match up with, because Williams had to have one of them, and then Wade was just undersized. But we shut down their guards with our bigger, and with Tony and just playing Amude and Note playing great defense on the perimeter. We weren't able to do that this time. We were struggling with their big men, but did okay, even though not great, but then we couldn't stop their guards. And there was not anything that we could do to Duke that really, we didn't shut down anything. They had everything that they wanted. They had their guards penetrating and shooting over us. And then they had their big guys, we had our big guys out of position trying to help because those drives were coming all the time. And then their big guys could just get up on the glass and put little putbacks in. We were talking about this throughout the game, but the level of difficulty on the shots that they made was not that high. They were getting, not to say that it wasn't hard for them to get to that spot, but when they released the ball, they were shooting a lot of exactly to their spot, 10-foot fadeaway over a smaller defender, or getting all the way to the cup layup. And our shots, the degree of difficulty felt like it was much more.
Well, I think it turns out that Coach K is a good coach, and you saw that he was a good coach based on the fact that they beat it. They beat us up on the boards, and they were getting stuff inside, and we were having a hard time with it. And then they did that in the first half. In the second half, when we started to kind of like having guys collapse down on that, what they did is they spread it out. They put everyone on the outside where we had to go man on man, and they spread the floor out. And then they would, so that their guards could drive. And when they did, Jalen was kind of playing that thing, which we did a lot of, and it worked great all year, where he's playing that sort of middle, he's sinking back. So he's not going to guard your big guy that can't shoot or whatever. He's not guarding him. And what they would do, man, they'd have their guard, if their guard wants to drive right, they'd have a one-on-one situation where there is just your guy and their guy, and the floor is wide open, and he's going to drive, and Jalen wants to come over. So what Coach K did, and it's brilliant, is he had the big guy cut. Not even trying to get the ball, I don't think. Obviously, if Jalen came all the way over, maybe you get the ball, and he just cut over.
Oh, no, if Jalen had come over, it would have been an alley-oop dunk for that
so
guy.
Then Jalen has to sink back, and then you just have a one. And look.
Well, the way that you can combat that is the corner defender has to be able to come over, but it looked a little bit like, and maybe Musselman will talk about this in some of the later press conferences, it kind of looked like they decided to do the same thing they did with Gonzaga, which is we're going to try to play tough in the paint, but if they score twos, we're not going to let them get momentum threes. And so they decided not to help a lot off the perimeter. And it really just didn't work that well because what was happening with Gonzaga is Timmy was catching the ball at 14 foot from the basket. And then it was like dribble, tough hook shot. These guys were getting all the way to the cup or shooting similar type shots, but they also hit a few threes. Like they did just enough of everything. And they were just hard for us to score against.
Well, I think it's just this. Look, Duke's personnel is more athletic than Gonzaga's personnel. Now, look, if you decided, I don't care who it is, you can take any one of those guards, and if they decided, hey, what we're going to do is you can take your bet right here. And it's going to be Note versus this guard. This floor is going to be wide open. And Note can try to go to the basket with a wide open lane. I'll bet you anything you want that Note can get that over and over and over again, because it's harder to play defense than it is to play offense. The offensive player has the advantage. Now, in a lot of games, Arkansas gets that advantage because we're long and they're athletic. And like, I think we were more athletic and longer than Gonzaga. And we see us do that against Duke. That they did is they spread it out. And it's not that Tony's not an elite defender. He is. It's not that Note's not a good defender. He is. But if it's just you and another dude that's a 5-star athlete and the floor is open, that is hard. That is hard to deal with. And like, you're not taller than him. You're not faster than him. Like, it's just you. Like, it's just a copy of you, and maybe even more athletic than you. We're talking about Duke. This is a tough situation.
Well, they were all a little bit bigger.
Yeah,
than, I mean, other than the one guard,
it's
they were all big.
It's a good game plan, and that's a hard. I mean, props to Coach K for putting it together, and that's it was good. And then they played zone. You and I talked months ago about that zone is going to be a bad deal for Arkansas, and it was. I mean, like when they went zone, here's the thing about Arkansas, and the thing that's so great about this season is that for a team that can't shoot the ball, I mean, Mude kind of became a better shooter, more consistent shooter down the stretch, but we're not a great shooting team. For a team that doesn't shoot the ball well, man, we like really, really masked that by doing a lot of other things. And we played we played as well as a team can play with that inability to shoot the ball on offense. But at the end of the day, if a team's going to go zone like that on you and you can't shoot the ball, it's just going to be tough, man. It's going to be really tough.
Well, I mean, like you said, I mean, so you're facing a team that has probably, matches you athletically and actually has a little bit more size than you at each position. And then, but they got more shooters. And it's not that we actually shot okay from the perimeter. I mean, I don't know if you could look up the numbers, but I think it was similar. But the difference is they shot that way in spite of the fact that we were trying to not leave them. We shot that well in spite of the fact that they were giving us those shots.
I mean, here's the thing, dude, like they shot 54.7% for the game. It's just too high.
Well, that's because all those, I mean,
it's
just in the paint.
We shot 41.9%, which is actually, that's fine for us. 3-pointers, we were 6 of 19 for 31%. That's not that bad for us.
Mm-hmm.
They were 4 of 10. They shot 40%, but they only took 10. I mean, like they didn't take bad threes. They only threes they shot were wide open where you're just a fool if you don't take it.
And they were generally off of scrambles. Like you could tell we were focusing on the three like we did with Gonzaga, and it just didn't work this time because of how effectively they scored easy buckets. When Gonzaga scored twos, they were tough twos. They were scoring relatively easy twos. And like I said, they still, kind of like in the last game where Wade did just enough to make that a bad strategy. They hit just enough threes to make it hurt. You know what I mean? And yeah, I mean, you've got two teams that play decent defense. We play better, but they were able to just do things defensively, scheme wise, that we couldn't afford to do. And they could because we don't have tons of shooters.
Yeah. I mean, a big part of the game is this. I mean, if you look at the thing, I mean, like assists, we had 12, they had 8, beat them in assists. Rebounds, we were getting killed the first
Should
half.
have had about 20 assists because Jalen was dropping dimes all over the place and we just couldn't finish them. But granted, some of them we couldn't finish because that big guy was down there causing problems.
So rebounds, we were getting smoked the first half. We ended up losing the rebound battle 27-25. But that tells me there wasn't that many rebounds, man. Like there was a lot of shots going in the basket. You look at steals, they had 7, we had 6. We had 5 blocks, they had 4 blocks. We had 11 turnovers, they had 15 turnovers. You're like, man, this seems like we should be like right up and maybe win this game. And then you get to free throws, and look, we were 11 of 11 because Arkansas has done a good job making free throws. Made all 11 of the ones we took. They were 16 of 18, and that hurt. We needed
the shooting percentage.
And the shooting percentage is where it's at. Like we needed to get at the line more. It was just hard though. It was hard to get to the free throw line. You want to draw contact and not just avoid it, but you're also like, if you don't do it right, that dude's just going to block you. And like, it's a tough thing. I know.
I mean, I would go ahead and say, I think Duke is personnel wise a better basketball team than Arkansas was this year. position for position. And Arkansas, in order to beat them, was going to have to play a stellar game, and Duke was going to have to play a little bit of their B game. And I think we were going to have to keep it close and then have a little thing at the end, like we always do, where you're like, it's a 2-point game in the last 2 minutes. You manage to make the plays, get to the free throw line. That section where Tony had to sit a little bit in the first half,
and
then Jalen had to sit.
And Tony were both out. It was
that's when it went from 5 to 12. And
but
that little run.
What also happened was Chris Likes, dude.
That
he was
was
Chris Likes. It's the last game of the year. I hate to say this about a dude in the last game of the year. Like, he was terrible.
Yeah, he didn't play well. But honestly, I didn't. I mean, we were saying this during the game. The second he came out there, I said, man, I can't see how Likes is going to be effective against this team, either defensively or offensively, because if he drives in there, they're just all so long. How's he going to get any good shots? And he's not going to be able to defend those guys. And so I actually was confused as to why Musselman played him. And I know, like, he had to play somebody because those two guys were sitting, but I would have rather almost seen him try to play.
I don't know that
a bigger guy.
Musselman will ever recruit whether a high school kid or a transfer that is under 5'10" ever again,
or over 7'3".
Maybe not. I think that you need to. I don't think I think you need to be between 6 foot and 6'10".
We're only recruiting 6'5" guys from now on.
He still wants that big in there, but it's not. It's a bummer. It's not his fault, but like, it just didn't work. I mean, I'm sure. I find it difficult to believe that Chris Likes doesn't think he made a mistake, but.
Well, and even you mean coming from Miami?
Yeah.
Well, especially if Miami moves on, then he'll be bummed, because
which I don't think they are,
but they could. And he would have had a more prominent role on that team, more than likely. But I mean, there's no doubt that when there was 9 seconds left on the shot clock at the end of that half, and he took that crazy three.
He took a shot you take with 2 seconds left.
Right. If you're just going to jack up a wild three,
there can't be any time. There has to be a rebound and the buzzer sounds if you're going to take. If that's the shot you're going to take, because you can get that shot, by the way, and whenever you want.
Right. And it managed to be a run out for them. But yeah, I mean, I do think that small period of, not that we were going to win the game, because we probably weren't. Not the way
it's way different though. If you go into halftime down 4, down 3, as opposed to even down 5, then down 12. Because it makes that run that you made where they did get it down to 5. That run is not you getting down to 5. That run is you taking the lead by 2.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, you never know. That
makes a huge difference.
You never know what momentum could do. But I mean, honestly, I just felt like the whole game felt like it was Duke's night. They played really well. It felt like they were going to win that game, but it would have been nice if we'd had Jalen and Tony out there. That brief period is where the lead ballooned, and we never were able to, and it wasn't surprising. It was like, I didn't feel good about, like, Arkansas is not a team that you want to see have to come back from 10 or more points, especially
not this team. No.
Well, and especially not against that, that team. Like, Duke's going to be, it was obvious that it was harder for us to score than for them. So it was difficult to try to understand how, or even hope that we were going to be able to stop them that many times and then efficiently score. So like, once that ballooned to 12 points, it was not that it was over, but that was a bummer of a period there.
Yeah.
And it, but like I said, ultimately, if you want to be positive, it's impossible not to be excruciatingly disappointing. Once you get to this level, it's like, you're like, just 2 more games.
Yeah.
You could actually do it. You could taste it. And even just the Final Four, it's like, that would be unbelievable. But still, like you said, starting out 0-3 in SEC, and then to go all the way to the Elite Eight, and to be the only SEC team that gets anywhere, it's an amazing season. You can't really be disappointed. It was house money.
I think Muss did an incredible. I think the coaching job that he's done this year is incredible. Getting that with the weaknesses that this roster has, which is shooting. It's amazing what he did with it. And I think there's it's nothing but positive things going forward. I heard a syndicated guy yesterday say that if there was one program in the country he was doing buy and sell, he said there's one college basketball team program, not just like a team, like this group of players, but a program that he could buy right now. He said that Arkansas is it.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I'll buy Arkansas all day long, like with Eric Musselman, what they have going on. And I think that's right. And that's, I mean, dude, how exciting is that? Like, you don't just feel like, oh man, this is our chance. I don't feel like that at all. I feel like Elite Eight, and I think it's all good things going forward, man. I mean, I think that we have a reason to believe that Arkansas basketball is going to be fun. But honestly, as long as Eric Musselman is here, but also just that you're Arkansas is good. You can't go to 2 Elite Eights in a row, have the second ranked recruiting class in the country coming in, and not be on the national stage. I mean, you're talking about a team that's going to be getting up. You're gonna be you're gonna play a lot of TV games, and it's good to have Arkansas basketball be extremely relevant.
Well, and it does happen that teams like Arkansas, like a gritty, tough team, gets hot, and it's happened that they go in and they end up, deep Final Four or even win the national championship. I mean, I think that year UConn won. They were a 4 seed and they just got hot at the right time. But Arkansas, if they had somehow won a national championship this year, they would have been stealing. You know what I mean? Like, it would have been a really shocking development. But most of the time, when you're good enough to win the national championship, you kind of know at some point during the season. You're not continually surprised. Sometimes that happens, but I mean, like when the Hogs won their national championship, you knew that team was good all year. It was that team
was ranked number 1 most of that year.
Yeah. So, I mean, I like being the underdog. That was so much fun to always be exceeding expectations, but it'd be kind of nice to also be like, that I wouldn't mind being in the catbird seat at some point too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I say this too, just about this game, and also going forward. I did think Jalen Williams played extremely hard and played very well.
Yeah, he played excellent.
I don't know. I think he gave everything he had, and I mean, he it wasn't just he had 19 points, 10 rebounds, double.
He had 3. I think he had 3 offensive fouls.
Yeah, and I mean, just passing. I don't know how many assists he had. I think he probably only had a couple, but
he should have had about 7.
His passing was ridiculous. I mean, he had 3 assists. But yeah, I mean, he
easily could have had 7. No, yeah. I mean, no joke.
And they weren't just like outlet pass to the guy for the dunk. There's an assist. I mean, these were threading the needle. His passing was great. And why the reason I say that is that I think Jalen Williams is preseason All SEC next year, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean,
Jalen Williams is that dude. Like, so, you got him and Devo coming back. Probably not Note. I mean, I know he can if he wants to. Probably not. I know Tony can if he wants to. Probably not. But you're going to have Jalen and you're going to have Devo. And you're going to have, obviously you have the younger guys, KK, and you're going to have
I wonder if any of those dudes are going to transfer out.
I'd be shocked if Vanover's on the team next year.
Yeah, me too.
I guess we could talk about that. This is sort of a season wrap thing too, but maybe we'll do another episode later. We'll definitely do an episode before the start of next season where we talk about the upcoming season. But I guess just like, what do you think about that? I expect, so we got a recruiting class of 5 dudes coming in, potentially 6 if Anthony Black. Hey, we didn't win the national championship or anything, go to Final Four, but hey, no other team that's on your list went further than us. So come on in. So you got this great recruiting class coming in. You're bringing Jalen back. You're bringing Devo back. I don't think they're going anywhere.
And you'll need that. I mean, because those guys, even though they're great, I mean, obviously great, talented freshmen, but freshmen are freshmen, and you need those seasoned players to hold up.
Oh, and he's going to attack the transfer portal. He's already said so. And so I think there's going to be some roster shifts. I think some guys will. Yeah, right now there's not a lot of scholarships there. I mean, sort of the freshman class is taking up the seniors that are leaving, but I do think some guys will move out. I think, look, I'm not saying I want Vanover to transfer. I'm just not going to blame him.
I want him to for him. I'd like to see him play somewhere. I mean,
yeah. So I'm not going to be surprised or blame him if he does. I think it's possible that KK transfers. He might be looking at this class that's coming in. He might think that it's going to be hard for him to carve out a spot.
Mm-hmm.
He might need a fresh start somewhere. I would love for KK to stay, but it's not. These are not things I want. These are just things that wouldn't surprise me.
Right.
The two main guys that I'd be looking at that could happen too is that maybe Chance Moore. I mean, Chance Moore was the only freshman on the roster this year. Pretty high, fairly high rated recruit. Never saw any playing time. Never got in. I don't know what the deal is there, but I mean, he was, a 4-star recruit and never saw the floor or anything. So you never know. It just depends. I don't know what he's like, so we'll see. But if you're a dude that was struggling for playing time this time, and you see this class coming in, I'm not gonna be surprised if some dudes are like, man, this is not getting better.
Yeah, well, and also you wonder, I mean, legitimately, and I'm not saying anything bad about the guys, you wonder about some of those guys that are shooters that Musselman tried to get in, but they just couldn't.
I think Jackson Robinson will stay. I think that there's a spot for him. He's long. He's big. I think he was just green and
well, that's what I mean. Like it's a matter of if
KK might be looking in the mirror and being like, I'm not tall enough to play on this team.
Or even just some guys, this. I mean, like some guys are just don't have the defensive, gut mindset. Like they just can't do that for whatever reason. And if you're one of those guys that you're watching the way Musselman wants you to perform, you're like, I need to go play on a finesse team where I can shoot, and because I just can't. That's not how what I do. I'm not a gritty, dirty.
And that's one
defender.
thing. And even though Musselman's not like a system guy, he like works with personnel. I think that defense is a non-negotiable with him always.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you even take a guy like Isaiah Joe, who maybe doesn't have like the best body for defense and stuff, but he bought in, and Isaiah Joe was not a defensive liability.
Yeah.
Even though he's like this knockdown shooter, he was drawing charges, getting steals. He was long.
Mm-hmm.
Mason Jones played defense. All those guys played defense. So, so we'll see. But there's a lot. I mean, Arkansas the expectations should be real high next year, and we should. I mean, I don't know if they're Elite 8 high. That's crazy expectations, but
I can't wait though, dude. I mean, that's one of the biggest gut punches too. Is like, not only do you lose, but you're like, oh man, that's it. Basketball's over.
Yep.
And football's still.
You're coming into the worst. I'm ready for the summer, by the way, in the spring, because I'm just tired of the weather being cold, and so I'm happy that that's happening. But the summer is the worst for sports.
Yeah, I mean, you have a little bit of baseball, but
at least you get to be outside. Though it would be terrible if it was reversed, because you'd be inside in the fall, like late fall, all through the winter, and you just have nothing to do. So that'd be worse.
And I like Hogs baseball, but
I don't watch it like I do football.
Not like I do football and basketball, and it tends to be more like when they get into the more towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
But I guess we might consider doing a football thing because the football team's fun as hell too right now.
I mean, I feel like it's harder for us to if we do that, it'll be for fun and. To whatever degree that you feel like we're speaking about basketball and like, oh, these guys know something about basketball. I certainly know less about football, not in the sense that I don't understand football. I understand football and I've watched football my whole life.
Just haven't played it.
I did not play football. I've played basketball my entire life. Understand basketball.
So you just don't critique the technical aspects as much, right? Like, because you don't know the same things, but you still can talk about it in a fun way.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, well, that was a fun season.
It was great, man.
And
thanks to everyone for all 115 of you that subscribe. Stay subscribed. It might be dead for a little while, but we plan on doing it again next year. And but yeah, I mean, a lot more people. I thought it might take longer to build a little bit of an audience and stuff, but it does seem like some people enjoyed it. So that's reason enough to keep doing it. And we appreciate you tuning in after the games that you did. That was cool. And we'll be back either for football doing something maybe, or if not, we'll definitely do a season preview before the season starts and talk about the way things are shaping up.
I gotta go drink.
That's it.
Drink my woes away. Thanks, guys.
Woo pig.